everybody around the world who is indigenous. It affects all of us at a much deeper level. And
Orion, how do you feel about that she's proactively trying to learn more? Is that not enough for you?
Unfortunately.
I'm going to say this. I am offended on Lauren's part. If Lauren is not going to say anything, I am offended. And the fact that Orion makes it seem like Lauren out of the blue blurted out this word and dragged it about and was mentioning it and was using it as a derogatory term in his presence, I would definitely be on board with him. But that's not what happened. And for him to say Lauren has offended every single native person around the world, seriously, as an ethnic minority, I understand it, but also I feel some type of way about the way Orion is behaving towards Lauren, because I think it's now bordering on psychological, I don't want to say abuse, but it sort of is, because of the way that he keeps hammering it on her head. Oh, you did this. He hasn't been perfect in this marriage. And the fact that he's using his tears to now play victim when he has done and said some wrong things. Lauren could easily have dragged him and said, you called me a prostitute because you criticized me for having sex 2 weeks before the marriage. And yet she hasn't. She's been accepting and she's been sort of understanding. Why can't he do the same? Oh, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. We're at 941 amazing subscribers. Thanks, everyone. Please, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 7. Here we go with this mess. We pick up from the fight with Orion and Lauren at their dinner date, and it continues until they go to bed. I think Orion doesn't know when to stop. I think he's used to being number one in a relationship, as in he's used to getting his own way, because even when Lauren asked him, can we keep quiet and not discuss this any further, I think she wanted to discuss it away from the cameras, away from the producer's prompting, and just have a one-on-one conversation between the two of them. But no, he wanted the performance to continue, and when he realized he wasn't getting his way, he decided not to say anything. When they got to the bedroom, it started again. And personally, I don't get it. For him to say the moment you signed on to Married at First Sight, you should have stopped having sex with other people. She said she had sex. She did not say she was in a relationship. What was it, a hit it and quit it, or was it because she was in an actual relationship? I think before he started taking sex off the table, he should have asked her, so did you have sex with someone you knew, or was it just a one-off? And depending on what she says, he would have made judgment with that. Not for him, the moment he hears, oh, she had sex, so we're done. No, that's not it. That's not it. If she had it, because people are human, we have feelings. Some people, that's how they relax. That's how, that's what they do for leisure. So you can't judge someone by your measure to say, when I signed on to Married at First Sight, I stopped having sex prior to even signing on, and I did this. That is you. Had she done, what's his name from last season, an Aries, and said, I had sex a week before I got married, that's totally different. Or what's his name, the guy with the beard, oh my God, I always try and forget these people as soon as the show ends. They said they had sex just before they found out they were engaged. She said a couple of months ago, and he still is holding that sort of as the standard to say, oh no, we're not going to have sex. So what did he expect her to do then? What did he expect her to do? I know someone in the comments said, oh, men like to marry women and assume that the women are virgins. She's 31 years old. What did he think? She says she's sexually active. What did he think? When they were discussing sex and stuff, where did he think she got the knowledge from? I'm not encouraging it, but I'm saying he has to be realistic. If he wanted to marry someone who hadn't had sex before, you should have asked them for a virgin. You should have asked them, and there's no way they can confirm whether that person is a virgin or not. Here's what I think. I think Orion wanted to be in a relationship where he was the ethnic minority, where he got his way, where he got to set the pace and sort of have things done according to what made him comfortable. And so the idea that he was matched with another ethnic minority who's able to stand up for herself, who's independent, who's confident, who's articulate, is something he didn't expect. And he still wants to play victim. He still wants to be treated as the special one in the relationship, which doesn't make sense to me. I've never wanted people to get a divorce, but I think Lauren and Orion are past Pastor Carl, Dr. Pepper, or anybody else saving them. I think Orion needs to do a lot of work on himself before he can get into a relationship. I don't think he was ready for this process. I know there are people on Married at First Sight who've got married and we've said, oh, they're not ready. The likes of Woody, everyone was laughing. Even his friends thought he wasn't ready, but he's now a father of 2. He's happily married. And so the idea that this guy was ready, I don't think so. Anyway, we have Emily and Brennan having a conversation and sort of just trying to go deep and see where they are, their values, do they align, about religion. Well, it seems Brennan is Jewish. Emily was raised Catholic, and she's happy to leave her religion for his, which she must have her reasons. I cannot judge her why she wants to leave it. Only she knows why. And she says she wasn't fully Catholic. She sort of dabbled. And they also talk about sport, and they sort of agree to compromise. If there's a couple that's shocking me, it's Emily and Brennan. I expected them to be a toxic mess. And so this far, they've actually shocked me that they've been more stable than Lauren and Orion, because I had high hopes for Lauren and Orion, and I'm very, very disappointed in what's going on. I know they're going to have a conversation with Pastor Carl, and I can't wait to see what happens with that. So we have Claire and Cameron. Claire and Cameron, for me, it's like, they remind me of Sheldon and what's her name? Amy Farrah from The Big Bang Theory, in the sense that there's something a bit, I don't know how to explain it. They are people. I'm not saying they're not highly intelligent. They are just so rigid in how they do things. They really are trying. They're socially awkward, both of them, not just one of them. Both of them are socially awkward. And because they're socially awkward, they're struggling to sort of understand each other's rhythm. And I think the sooner they understand each other's rhythm, the better they'll function as a unit. That's my opinion. And so they have this conversation. Obviously, sadly, Cameron, when he was diving into the ocean, he must have burst his eardrum because he's having this sharp pain in his head. And so he's worried. He wants to see a doctor. On her part, Claire has a meeting. So he decides actually that while she's in her meeting, he'll go to the doctors, which makes sense. That way he's not hanging around and she's not having to go and sit with him in the hospital. So I hope all goes well. And then with Becca and Austin, I'm starting to notice a theme. I don't know whether that's just me. I think Becca and Austin are, I don't know whether it's because they're being too good to be true, or whether because they both know they come with something that they are hiding, they're trying their best to create a connection. That way, when they reveal the truth about themselves, the other person is in so deep that they can't sort of pull away. Because they try to talk about religion, and Austin is very wishy-washy about it, and then says, oh, we can't talk about it now, let's talk about it later. And it's like, why? Why can't we just talk about it now? Are you religious or not? If you are, what religion do you practice? That's it. Make it make sense. There's no need for you to be dodging all over the place. So I don't get that. That relationship could go either way. It could explode or it could work. I don't know. I think the sooner they start being honest with each other, the better for the two of them as a couple. We then hear Lauren say that, they did continue their conversation about the sex, and Orion was saying he wasn't really bothered by the fact that she had sex, but it was just that. And it's like, nah. This guy, I don't think really likes Lauren. I don't think so. I think he's looking for excuses as to how he can sort of break the relationship. Because if he really wanted things to work, the fact that she had sex 2 months ago is not a deal breaker. She didn't have sex in the time that she was shortlisted. I don't think they would have shortlisted them two months prior to the marriage. I don't think so. We were always told that they only found out whether they were getting married at least 2 weeks before the wedding day. So and so he's gone off and he's left her, and it's like, this is not making sense. Something more is going on with Lauren and Orion, and I don't know what it is, and I wish we could really find out. Oh, it looks like Brennan has a bad temper. Oh, I hope things don't go left, because Emily comes across as someone who's happy-go-lucky and she's very flexible and she's, very social and very outgoing, whereas Brandon comes across as very rigid. So they were playing, a lot of little sport activities. And then she sort of asked him in a joking way, do you know how to have fun? I think because he is trying, but he's very so set in his ways that she wants someone who's just a loose spirit, someone who is just, fly by the seat of your pants, someone who's not going to be, oh, we have to do this at this time, at that time. And if it's not done at that time, then they get upset. And he sort of, the producers are shady because they left them alone and pretended as though they were not recording them. And yet they showed us a clip of him saying, oh, why would you say, do I know how to have fun? Oh, and it's like, please, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. I have hope, so you please don't let me down. We need at least one successful couple this season. And then Lauren and Orion meet up and they're sort of continuing this conversation. It's been 24 hours of the same thing. Somehow Orion ends up being the victim because he ends up crying because Lauren says, you were not at your best. I was not at my best. But at the end of the day, we have to allow each other grace. And it's like, Lauren can't keep being the one who gives grace to this man. He has to give her grace as well. He can't continue to play the victim. It's a pity he doesn't value who she is because he's going to lose out on an amazing person just because they do not look the way he wanted them to look, or they do not behave the way he wanted them to behave. You have Cameron go and get his ear checked out, and because they don't have the equipment to sort of look inside his ear, they send him to the local hospital, and Claire isn't able to go with him because of the fact that she has this meeting to attend. And they are cute. I really like Cameron for some reason. Whether he's going to be successful in a marriage or not, there's something about him that's very endearing, and I don't know what it is, and I can't put my finger on it. So finally, Becca and Austin have this conversation, obviously, about religion. And for me, I think they had this conversation in private before they came to the cameras. I think what Austin and Becca have decided is to always put their best foot forward, and in doing so they come across as great to the viewers because it doesn't make sense. Anyway, she says she grew up Jewish but she's now agnostic. He grew up Christian, and so he was worried, he says, because he's seen how his parents struggled because of their difference in religion. And for me it's like, okay, I get it, but something is still not 100% for me. There's something a bit off with the two of them. They seem too good to be true, if you get what I mean. So I want it to make sense, but hey, it is what it is. Lauren and Orion eventually speak with Dr. Pia because obviously of the issues they're having. And she gave an analogy I liked. She said that, think of your relationship as a bank account, and every time, things don't go right, it's a withdrawal. So try and deposit as much as you can. And I said this before. I think yes, it's important to get to know one another and it's important to dig deep. But I think they're not even coming up for air. They just keep going down and down and down. And it would be nice if they discussed something, sort of digested it, sort of reached an understanding, and then they move on to the next topic. But they want to know about religion, they want to know about sex, they want to know about how you like your sex, when did you have sex, and it's just a bit too much. And the other thing that I struggle with is, instead of Lauren being the victim, because she's the one who was judged, in my opinion, it seems Orion has now taken it on board and is now, I had to protect my mom and my sister from my stepdad, or this. So now he is the victim of this situation of his own making. Surprise, surprise. He created this environment whereby it felt judgmental. It felt I am better than, and suddenly he's now the victim. Make that make sense, please. I don't get it. So the couples meet up for their final dinner, and it's cute to see, everybody seems to be getting along. Outside of Orion and Lauren, they seem very awkward. And you have, Cameron eventually show up. Apparently, it's just an ear infection. So he shows up with this bouquet of flowers. And it's like, oh my God, did he just pick up, somebody's display of flowers or what? But hey, it is what it is. At least he made the effort, and Claire seemed very happy with it. And so I get where sort of Becca and Austin are coming from, because they say they want to build a foundation first, and once they've built their foundation, then they're going to start sort of digging deep on whatever's, sensitive subjects they want to discuss, which makes sense. And it makes me question, what are the topics? What topics are they avoiding, really? I want to know. What is it? Is it about Becca's health, or is it something else to do with Austin that we don't know about? Make it make sense. And then with Orion and Lauren, that's a bit of an uncomfortable situation, because Lauren is sort of saying that they've had a couple of hurdles along the way. Obviously, there is the thing about the race, the comment that, well, she thought it was a joke. He didn't take it as a joke, so he was very offended by that. And then there's the sex question. So for Orion to say, I don't know whether to discuss with the other couples because they might not be sensitive enough, as it's something to do with being an ethnic minority and stuff. And it's like, you are in a relationship with an ethnic minority woman. She's tried to be empathetic. She's tried to apologize. She's tried to do everything to understand you, but you have refused to sort of take a step back. You are the one who brought up the word. She did not bring up the word. So for you to turn it around and suddenly make it seem like she was being racist or she was being derogatory towards your people doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it, and I don't get why he continues to sort of behave this way, given the fact that he said, some not so nice things about black people, and Lauren took it as a joke and just brushed it off and said, I'll punch you for my people, and that was it. And yet he is still carrying on with this baggage, and I don't know. I don't know. I somehow get he doesn't like her. As I said before, I somehow get that he doesn't like her and is looking for an excuse to break up with her. What do I think of the couples on the honeymoon? I think as much as Brennan and Emily are trying, I think there's something there that they're going to have to work on, which is Brennan's temper, because of the way he behaved when he was told that, do you know how to have fun? I think he's someone who's very rigid and who is going to take a lot of work to sort of try and make himself flexible in order to be adaptable in his marriage. But there is room for them to work. And I think this honeymoon has shown that they have the ability, as long as they are willing to compromise, to actually work and have that marriage that Brennan wants, where there's no room for divorce. Becca and Austin, what do I think? I think there's a lot more that they need to discuss, and sadly, they have decided to avoid any conversations that might create any sort of argument or toxicity between the two of them. So it's going to be interesting once they get back from their honeymoon to see them start talking and having conversations to see if they are still as compatible as they feel that they are, because I feel like there's something there that we haven't found out, and that with time, hopefully it's not something that's going to make them fall apart, because I think on Becca's part is going to be about her health, and Austin's part, something is not right, and I don't know what it is, but he's not saying anything. So I don't know whether he wants to really fully understand sort of Becca's medical condition and see whether it's something that he can cope with before he really puts himself into this marriage. But I don't know. We'll see. And Claire and Cameron, they seem to be doing amazing. Obviously, they had their issues when they came on their honeymoon, and so it's something they're working on as they go home, because Claire brought this massive suitcase and Cameron bought this tiny little bitty of a suitcase. So I hope they're able to overcome whatever it is that they're trying to work on. But I like them as a couple. I have high hopes. I think as long as they can relax, they just need to take a deep breath, sit back, relax, and sort of just allow things to flow. I think they're so used to controlling everything that they're struggling to sort of adjust or adapt to their life as a married couple. And then Orion and Lauren. Orion, for me, has been looking for an excuse, sadly, because the fact that he's saying Lauren offended his people, he's every Native American around the world, she offended him, his family. I think Orion wanted someone who would be, landing at his feet, who would worship him, who would do whatever he wants them to do, someone who would make him feel like he is the king of his palace. I don't think he wanted to be challenged. The fact that he said he felt like a minority in the relationship when he's married to a black woman doesn't make sense to me. The fact that he's so offended that he cannot forgive Lauren about the comments doesn't make sense to me, because if he could overcome the, we have to stay on the reservation comment, I don't know why he can't overcome Lauren's comment. And Lauren, when she made a comment, it was very ignorant, because when she heard of the comment, he brought it up. She didn't bring it up. When he brought it up, I think she assumed something totally different to what it was. And when she said it and she realized she was wrong, she laughed. And for him to now say she's offended every single person, what about him using the N-word? What about him, the derogatory things he said about black people? Should Lauren be saying the same thing? I think he should have been honest, and he should have said word for word what happened. He should have been saying the conversation that they had, unless it was edited out, because from what we saw, his reaction doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, it doesn't, because it doesn't equate to what he's saying now and what he's doing. I feel like this is enough room for them to get a divorce without anyone having to pay a penalty, because I don't think it's worth the hassle and the trauma that Lauren is going through. Lauren is already grieving her mom. I don't think she should have come into the experiment. And then to be sort of matched with someone who's going to just continue to put her in that cycle where she's got no safety, she's got no peace of mind, she's always walking on eggshells. When she was crying to Claire, my heart broke for her. She's really tried to take responsibility and be accountable for her actions. She's tried to sort of read about his culture to understand what happened. Where did she go wrong? What else does he need? What else does he need? He should have told them he wanted to be married to a Native American woman. I feel like he wanted to get married to a Caucasian person, but he wanted a Caucasian person who understood his culture. And so when he was landed with a black woman, he didn't understand that, and he couldn't compute that. And so this is why he's coming up with excuses. I think had he been married to a Caucasian woman, he would have been able to play the ethnic minority card all the way till wherever. And because he's with a black woman, he doesn't know how to navigate that. And now that he's got this comment that she made, he's going to use it till no end. Anyway, oh my God, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 6. Bye guys.